Assalamu alaikum, students. I hope you all are doing well and enjoying this rainy season. I am Ms. Sumaya, and inshallah, in today's video, we will be covering the topic of Roman numbers. Okay, so before starting with its explanation that what are Roman numbers and how can we represent numbers in the form of Roman numerals, first of all, let's just briefly discuss that what is the system. Okay, so basically Roman numbers or Roman numerals, this system was made by the people of Rome, which we call them as Romans. Okay, and one thing that is unique in this system is that the numbers are actually represented in the form of letters. Okay, like how we write 1 2 3 4. This is not followed in the Roman numeral system. Okay, in this system we usually write letters. So what we are going to learn is that how which letter is equal to which number. Okay, what is its value? We will learn about that. Obviously this can come in your mind that why are we studying it in our mathematics course. So it is because even in today's era, even in today's world, at some parts of our world, people use this system. Okay, so we should be familiar with it. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so before starting with how to write Roman numbers, one thing that you all should keep in your mind, you all should memorize, because this rule doesn't change. This actually it stands for I. This is capital I. Okay, so 1 stands for capital I, 5 stands for capital V, 10 stands for capital X, 50 stands for capital L, and 100 stands for capital C. You all should memorize this, okay, because this will help you a lot in writing the numbers in the form of Roman numerals. Okay, now let's begin. For example, if I want to write 1, okay, so in the form of Roman numbers, I will simply write it as this capital I, okay. If I want to write 2, what I will do is that this capital I along with another capital I, it makes 2, okay. So this is how I will write 2 in the form of Roman numbers, okay. This actually means, since we know that 2 is equals to 1 plus 1, okay, and I know that in Roman numbers 1 stands for I, right? So this actually makes 1 plus 1, capital I plus capital I is equals to 2 capital I's, okay. Then comes for 3. 3 is equals to, as we know that 3 is 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? And I know that 1 is equals to capital I. So I will follow the same rule here. Capital I plus capital I plus capital I, it makes this 3 capital I's, okay? When I come towards 4, 4 is equal to 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? So as I know that 1 is equals to capital I, so I'm writing it like, capital I plus capital I plus capital I plus capital I is equals to 4 capital I's. Will I do that? No, I will not do that in the case of 4. Why I will not do that? Because of a rule that is followed in this system. Letters must not be repeated more than 3 times. Okay? So since we considered in the case of 3, the letters were repeating 3 times, so we considered till here. But when it comes to 4, the letters are repeating more than 3 times, so now we will not consider this. Okay? The letters must not repeat more than 3 times. Okay? So now how will we write 4? Let's have a look. See, generally, letters should be arranged from largest to smallest. But Due to rule number 1, numbers such as 4 can't be written as 4 capital I's. So a smaller letter before a big letter represents subtraction. Okay, now what we are doing here is we are writing 4 like this. This is capital I plus V. Okay, as I have discussed it previously, V is equal to 5, right? So, since I have written 4 as capital I and V, here what does rule number 2 says? That if we are adding a smaller letter before, okay, or you can say on the left side of the big letter, this represents subtraction. Okay, what does a smaller letter actually means? Letter actually means the value. Okay, since I know that the value of I is equal to 1 and the value of V is equal to 5, right? So the value of I is smaller than V, right? So that is why if I am adding the letter or the digit of a smaller value in front or on the left side of the greater letter, I will do subtraction. Okay, so that is why I am performing subtraction here. It becomes 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. So that is how I am able to write 4. Okay, similarly, look here. If I talk about 10, I know, if I look at here again, I know that 10 is equals to x, right? So if I need to write 10, I know that 10 is equals to x. Okay, if I talk about 20, I know that 20 is equals to x plus x. It will make 2x's, right? If I talk about 30, so I will write it like x plus x plus x. It makes 3x's, right? But if I talk about 40, will I write it like 4x's? No, I will not write it. Why? Because of rule number 1. Again, see here what they have written in rule number 1, that letters must not be repeated more than 3 times. So obviously I have to follow this rule here as well. Okay, so how will I write 40? I will apply rule number 2. Okay, rule number 2 actually comes in. I will write it like this, XL. Okay, here x is equals to 10 and L is equals to 50, right? So as rule number 2 tells us that if we are adding the digit or the letter whose value is smaller, okay, in front of the letter whose value is bigger, then we will perform subtraction. Okay, so since the value of x is 10 and the value of L is 50, okay, so I know that the value of x is smaller than L, so I will perform subtraction. I will subtract these two numbers from with each other. Okay, so that is why I am writing here 50 minus 10 and it makes 40. So this is how I will write 40. Okay, I will write 40 as XL. Okay, similarly, if I look towards 9, here I know that, see, this is how I'm writing 9. 9 is written as IX. Okay, I stands for 1 and X stands for 10. Now, since the value of I is smaller than the value of X, and as I know that rule number 2 tells us that whenever we write whenever we, place the letter whose value is smaller as compared to the letter whose value is greater, so we will perform subtraction. So that is why I am subtracting these two digits with each other. And I will write it like this, 10 minus 1, it becomes 9. So this is how I will write 9. Okay? Now comes a question in my mind that, okay, I have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and other letters, other numbers. How will I be able to write 6? Okay? This is when the rule number 3 comes into play. Now let's look at rule number 3. See, when a digit of lower value is written to the right or after a digit of higher value, the values of all the digits are added. Okay, this rule number 3 is opposite to rule number 2. Okay, what we are doing in rule number 3, if we are writing a digit whose value is smaller as compared to the digit, if you're writing the digit whose value is smaller after that digit whose value is greater, then what we are going to do, we will add those numbers together. Okay, let's look at the example. This is vi. Okay, this actually is equals to 6. Now how? You know that the value of v is equals to 5, right? And the value of 1, this capital I, is equals to 1. So I know that the value of v is greater as compared to the value of I. So if I am writing the digit whose value is smaller after the digit after the greater digit, okay, after that digit whose value is greater, I will perform addition. Okay, this is why I am adding here. So since v is equals to 5, I will write 5 here. I is equals to 1, I will write 1 here. 5 plus 1 is equals to 6. So that is how I get 6. Okay, similarly, look at the next example. This is vi. I know that the value of v is equals to 5 and the value of I is equals to 1. So I know that the value of v is greater as compared to I, and obviously I can see that since this I is written after v and this I has a smaller value as compared to v, so I will add all of these numbers together. I will add all of these digits together. So I will add 5 plus 1 plus 1, it makes 7. Okay, let's look at this example. This is vi. Okay, so again, this one is just like all these two examples. I know that the value of v is 5 and it is greater as compared to the value of I. So obviously if I is written after v, so if the digit whose value is smaller as compared to the digit whose value is greater, if such a digit is written after the digit whose value is greater, so we will add all of these digits together. So that is how I get 8. Now let's solve a few examples together. Okay, I want to write 37 in Roman numbers. Okay, I want to write 37 in Roman numbers. Now as I know that first of all here I have, this number stands for what? 30 plus 7. So I will break it down and this is how I will write it in Roman numbers. Okay, first of all, let's pay attention on 30. How will we write 30? I know that 30 is equals to 10 plus 10 plus 10, right? Meaning, and I know that the value of 10 in Roman numbers, it is x. So I know that x plus x plus x, so it makes 3x's, right? So this is how I will write 30. 3x's actually means 30, right? Now I need to write 7. How will I write 7? I know that for writing 7, what I will do is, first of all, I will write 5. Okay, this v is equals to 5, and then I will write 2 i's. Okay, 2 capital I's, right? So this is how I get 7, since we have discussed it here. This is how I get 7. So simply I will add all of these together. Okay, this is how I get 37. Okay, 3x's, 1v and 2i. This is how I get 37. This stands for 30 and I know that VII stands for 7. Okay, so this is how I get 37. Let's pay attention on another example. Let's solve it together. Now, this one is actually a difficult one. It's a difficult example. Let's see if all of you can do it with me. See, here the number that we have now is 49, and we need to write it in Roman numbers. Okay. Now I know that 49 comes before what? 50. Okay. Again, I will follow, to make it easier for you. If you need to write these numbers in Roman numbers, the easier way is that you break them down. Okay. 49 is equals to 40 plus 9, right? Now let's first of all write 40. How will we write 40? Obviously, we cannot write it 4x's. No, that's not the correct way. Rule number 1 comes into play that we cannot repeat more than three. We cannot repeat more than 3 digits. Okay, so here we are writing 4 digits. Obviously, we cannot write it like this. Okay, so what we will do? I know. Now, see, I know that L stands for 50, right? In Roman numbers, L stands for 50. The letter L is equals to 50. And I know that 50 minus 10 gives me 40, okay? So I will take help from this letter. I will first of all write L, and then I will add x before it, okay? Adding x before L actually means that we will follow rule number 2 again, right? This actually means that since I have written the digit whose value is smaller in front of the digit whose value is greater, okay? So this means 50 minus 10, right? L is 50 and x is 10. Okay, so we will be subtracting these two numbers together. So that is why I write it like this. 50 minus 10 gives me 40. Okay, so for 40, we got our answer that we will be writing XL. Now let's focus on 9. How will I write 9? I know that in Roman numbers, x is equal to 10, right? And I know that 10 minus 1 gives me 9, okay? So similarly, again, I will focus on rule number 2. I will first of all write x, and I know that capital I is equals to 1, okay? So I will write I here, right? Since I am adding the digit whose value is smaller in front of the digit whose value is greater, so I get 9, okay? It is 10 minus 1, which gives me 9, okay? So this is how I will be writing 49. If I add both of these with each other, what do I get? 49 is equal to XL I X. Okay, I hope it's clear to all of you. Inshallah, we will meet soon. Okay, Allah Hafiz.